Earth's magnetic pole is on the move, and scientists just updated its position. Oh, you mean in January, the media, corporate press, scientists said the magnetic poles are shifting. Now, that doesn't mean there's going to be a cataclysm, but there are many theorists who are predicting that we are going to see a major pole shift. This will cause the planet to spin, to effectively move. The United States becomes the southern hemisphere and it gets real cold real quick. And then we can see that South America, Greenland, and a bunch of other places end up on the equator, including Antarctica. It's a really interesting 3D model that was just put out the other day. Actually, it may be older than that, but it was posted the other day as well. And with these power outages that hit in Europe and Puerto Rico, speculation and theories are that the Earth's magnetosphere is weakening and we may be looking at a cataclysmic event. Now, recently I interviewed Ben Davidson about this. He's the space weather guy on X, smart fellow. And he believes that we are looking at a cataclysmic pole shift, and it's going to, the weakening of the magnetosphere is going to fry our electronics, send us back to the Stone Age. How long do we survive after that? Perhaps, I don't know. What I can say is he mentioned a future map of the United States. I don't know that I believe it. Apparently it was a psychic who envisioned this. But there are some interesting ideas to bounce around should this be the case. And I will admit, I am fascinated by this topic. I don't know if any of it's true, but it is interesting. And sometimes we chase after stories like this because it's fun. It's fun to imagine something. I mean, it's not fun to imagine it actually happening, to be honest, but maybe. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't know that any of this I believe, right? Earth's magnetic pole is on the move. Scientists update its position. We've got this from Smithsonian. It's from January. Earth's magnetic pole is shifting towards Siberia and raising questions about unusual movement. Okay, that's scary. They say the magnetic North Pole is distinct from the geographic North Pole, a fixed point where the Earth's axis meets its surface. Instead, magnetic north is the changing location where the planet's magnetic field lines converge. This field is generated by the churning of the planet's outer core, a layer of molten iron and nickel that begins roughly 1,800 miles beneath Earth's surface. As the fluid dynamics of the core change, the magnetic pole shifts over time in a process known as geodynamo. Now something unusual seems to be happening. The current behavior of magnetic north is something that we've never observed before. Yikes. Let's go down. For industries reliant on magnetic fields, such as aviation, shipping, and navigation, this movement is no small matter. GPS systems, planes, military equipment track the magnetic field and rely on accurate models. You guys ready for the hammer drop? What if the disasters that we're seeing in aviation are due to a magnetic pole shift? Not an idea I came up with. Other people have speculated this. How did the plane come in hot in Canada and then belly flop? Instruments were reading improperly, maybe? How did a helicopter crash into that plane? Instruments, once again, reading improperly? Maybe not. I mean, they said that lady was told to turn left and descend, and she didn't do it. Take a look at this. Open-Minded Approach posted this on X. This is the worst case scenario of the geophysical event. The outer part of the Earth, the crust of the mantle, suddenly shift by 104 degrees, relocating the north and south poles while the planet continues spinning in the same direction as before. Let me see if he's got a better video of this right here. Let's play this video. So here's the Earth, and you're going to see. Let me pause it. Actually, you can see the equator, North America up here, South America. You got it all. Now here's what gets interesting. The planet spins. We can see Indonesia, see Africa, South America. Everything seems normal. This is exothermic core mantle decoupling oscillation cycle state 1. Now check it out. You can see the shift starting to occur. The planet is now rotating off its axis. And what happens? Look at where the equator is now. You've got Russia. You've got is that Australia? Oh no, I'm sorry, that's Asia. Yeah, that's Russia. I was right. And you've got Asia and Australia now at the equator. Look at this. Antarctica now at the equator. Look at Chile. It's now rotating. This is incredible. If this were to actually happen, take a look at this. So the equator, this is really funny. For those in South America, they probably aren't going to notice a whole lot in like Venezuela and Colombia and stuff, because all that's happening now is the sun is going to move. It's going to appear to go from south to north, which is crazy. Take a look at North America. It becomes very cold very quickly for a lot of people. The west coast of the United States, if this is true, is going to become like the South Pole. And for those of us that are in like Florida, is going to get the weather patterns of Chicago. It's going to kill all of this fauna and flora. Look at this. Now, I don't know that it's true. Just an interesting video. Maybe it's all crazy. I want to show you something else, too, that's part of this cataclysmic theory. This was, shout out to Jessica. She does graphics for us. She sent me this and said, take a look. And I find this very interesting. Let me see if I can, okay, we're not going to be able to make it bigger. We can do it over here. Here we go. That's too big. This is the Gordon Michael Scallion's future map of North America. I don't buy it. To be honest, the idea here was a guy was using, what do you call it, remote viewing. And this is what he claimed to have seen. Maybe. The belief here is North America will look something like this if the poles shift and we move south. It got me thinking. Okay, if this were really going to happen, what do we need to do to survive? Okay, well, the most important thing for any economy, for the survival of humanity, is going to be energy. How are we going to source energy if the poles flip and much of North American continent becomes flooded and slightly south of the equator in the southern hemisphere? And I thought, okay, well, I mean, you're going to need energy of some sort, but our travel infrastructure and our oil production is going to be fried. The machinery is going to be roasted to a crisp. Interesting. Perhaps then we're going to need some kind of alternative or renewable, we'd call it, energy source. I say alternative, meaning energy that can be sourced from any given location without the need of transmission lines or transportation lines. Right now, we're heavily reliant on sourcing oil in various parts of the country or outside the country and then transporting it around. We ain't going to have that. So we're going to need to build a lot of solar panels, wind farms. That's going to be very, very important. Now, the components may get fried, but if we have shielded components ready to go, wind and solar, we can put these up relatively quickly with human labor and start restoring power. And if we have electric vehicles, you may be thinking, no, that's crazy, Tim. The electric cars are going to get fried. Not if we have heavily shielded electric vehicles underground, deactivated, so they can't short out and fry their systems, to be easily assembled relatively, and then charging systems using much the same way. Hey, wait a minute. Ocean levels rising? Need for electric cars? Sounds like a strategy you'd want to implement if the poles were going to shift and water was going to rise. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. What I'm saying is, I don't know, it's a fun idea to think about, I guess. Imagine this. The government knows the poles are going to shift. We saw that video from Tucker Carlson with Catherine Austin Fitts saying the U.S. government has built these underground facilities. I wonder. If the U.S. knew we were at risk for a major polar shift and an actual tilt, resulting in this, they're saying ocean levels are going to rise. They tell you it's because of climate change, but don't happen. That's why we're not seeing ocean levels rise, because climate change isn't going to make that happen. They say we need electric cars, solar power, wind power. That would be extremely important if our ability to produce oil and transport it was disrupted, as it will be. Now, it doesn't mean you can't have oil in a situation like this. Local areas will still be able to produce, for sure. Pumps. Refining it will be a little difficult. But in this scenario, let me throw it to the show Landman. He's got wind farms around pumps. And this female lawyer, she's like, alternative encroaching on, green energy encroaching on your space. Because they ain't green, it's alternative. The only reason they have wind farms out here is because they don't have the transmission lines to get the electricity to the pumps. So they use the wind turbines to power the pumps to get the oil. Exactly. How are you going to get the electricity to the oil pumps? You need wind, you need solar. Interesting. All I'm doing is throwing gas on the fire of speculation. I don't know for sure. Interesting idea, to say the least. I'm going to wrap it up there. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Man. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. We will have more segments coming up later today. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all then.